The TV anime The Apothecary Diaries is currently a huge hit, garnering support from a wide range of ages and genders. For the fifth installment of our series, we interview the original creator, Hyūga Natsu. Why choose poison as the theme? Why set the stage in the imperial harem? How were characters like Mao Mao and Jinshi created? Through these and other questions, we delve into the behind-the-scenes of the work's creation. This is the complete version of the interview published in the July issue of Nikkei Entertainment.
How do you feel about the buzz around Apothecary Diaries?
I'm truly grateful, but since I usually live a quiet life in the countryside, it doesn't really sink in much. However, when I travel to different places for collaborations, I do think, wow, they're doing this here too. It's wonderful, but honestly, there are so many collaborations that sometimes I get a bit confused and wonder, did I accept this one?
What prompted you to write Apothecary Diaries?
It started because I had free time and thought I'd write something. After the Great East Japan earthquake, there was a period of self-restraint where going out was difficult. That's when I stumbled upon Let's Become Novelists. For about a month, I was purely enjoying it as a reader, but then I suddenly thought, maybe I should write something too. Back then, there were already many isekai and game-inspired stories, so I wanted to try writing something with a different atmosphere. That was the beginning of The Apothecary. My initial setting featured a woman with 3 children as the protagonist, set in a mining town. The plot involved her investigating why the children of her employer, the Lord, kept dying, suspecting mining toxins as the cause. Then I thought about how to adapt this for Naro style. First, making the protagonist a teenager, like in light novels, seemed appropriate. Then, since a mining town has a somewhat somber image, I thought setting it in a city would make it more colorful. But having too much poison in a city would be too dangerous, so I considered where danger wouldn't seem out of place. Using a process of elimination, I concluded the imperial harem was the most plausible setting. Following that logic, I decided making the protagonist an apothecary would make it plausible for her to be young yet knowledgeable about poisons.
Were you originally knowledgeable about puzzle solving or mysteries?
Regarding the mystery elements, I actually agonized over how to categorize the genre while developing the setting. I thought maybe it should barely qualify as puzzle solving. That would make it feel like a detective story, but since it ends quickly, I figured it would be fine. I never intended to write it long-term anyway, and since book deals were rare back then, I never considered that kind of development. Since it was self-posted on a forum, I could end the serialization anytime. I did read novels, but there are people who read far more, so I'd say I just liked them. Nowadays, I read manga more often.
How did you develop the characters?
Rather than creating characters, I thought them through systematically alongside the setting. First, if the protagonist solves mysteries, he needs a queen targeted by poison. And since it's a harem, there would be other rival consorts, and eunuchs would be present too. As for Mao Mao, I simply hated writing stressful stories, so a protagonist who doesn't whine and just calmly does what needs to be done felt easier to write and probably easier to read. People often call her sharp-tongued, but I think everyone thinks a little mean thing in their head sometimes, and as long as it doesn't come out, it's fine.
That's probably why she's such a relatable character.
Exactly. So if someone sees Mao Mao and thinks she has a bad personality, I'd say they have a very pure sensibility. She doesn't try to be quirky or hang on to someone's power. The world has both true feelings and facades. Even if it's a facade, as long as she's not lying, there's no problem. Conversely, if speaking her true feelings would hurt someone's feelings, I don't think keeping it to herself is a bad thing. So even if Mao Mao says something a bit harsh, I write it with the sense that it's all just her inner monologue, just her thoughts. That's Apothecary Diaries for you.
Jinshi became a popular character too, didn't he?
Regarding Jinshi, since the work's atmosphere features mostly women, I thought maybe I should introduce one handsome male character as a eunuch, and that's how he came to be. His popularity was unexpected. Initially, I had two settings in mind, a normal eunuch route or a non-eunuch route. If it had ended as a short story, he might have stayed a eunuch. Also, I originally intended to kill Jinshi, but he's still alive. That decision was actually quite influenced by the feedback in the Let's Become Novelists comment section. So when people say he's become a popular character, it's a bit complicated. Increasing his screen time risks breaking the story given his character's setup, and moving him around is also quite difficult given his position. He's a very delicate character to write. It would have been much easier with a setting like Unfettered Shogun.
Was there a character you enjoyed writing?
Shisui was fun. As for her, I'll leave it up to those who watched the anime's second season all the way through to decide how they feel about her.
How did you approach the story and structure?
I'd sprinkle in bits that seemed usable for later stories, or include things at a level where readers probably wouldn't mind too much, even if I didn't end up using them. It wasn't like I was laying tons of foreshadowing from the start. Like I said earlier, I didn't plan on continuing for that long, so as I wrote, things just naturally connected here and there.
Some works are interesting when they unfold exactly as the author intended, while others are fascinating precisely because they deviate from expectations. In twaili or mystery works, what delights readers is that moment when they think, everyone else was clueless, but I figured it out. With Apothecary Diaries, I deliberately widened that I figured it out. I write assuming everyone will think, I got the answer to that mystery. I find it most enjoyable when readers feel the puzzle solving was easy. I also consciously choose such plot points, but my happiest moments are when readers tell me they didn't grasp the meaning of a hidden detail I planted, but then researched it and figured it out. It makes me happy knowing they took the trouble to look it up. Regarding knowledge of poisons and medicines, I actually use almost everything I learned in compulsory education. When I needed more, I'd peek at the bookstore's summer vacation research project section. I didn't want readers to be divided into those who get it and those who don't if it was too difficult. I've used everything from chemical reactions and the lever principle to light reflection, so coming up with new ideas is getting tough now.
Please tell us about the future direction of the novel. I want to create an ending that feels best for the fans, in my own way. So if the branch you hoped for gets chosen, I'd be thrilled if you thought, yes!
The anime is currently a huge hit, isn't it?
I watch the anime myself and enjoy seeing the world of Apothecary Diaries brought to life visually. I love the backgrounds, so seeing the intricate backstories depicted is a real treat. There are original elements too, like discovering the background of that nameless military officer in episode 3 of season 1. I'm enjoying it just as much as the fans. Having the things I imagined in my head brought to life is truly a blessing.
How are you involved with the anime?
For season 1, I mostly just reviewed materials like scripts through the editor, but for season 2, I got to be quite heavily involved. I attended almost all the script meetings and participated in every recording session, including remote ones. I'd always thought it wasn't good for the original author to get too involved, but the editor told me it's okay for you to participate. That said, I mostly took an observer stance, just watching. Still, being able to discuss specific details on the spot, like I'd like this part handled this way, was really beneficial. My biggest takeaway after doing it was just how many times script meetings happen. It's a huge effort. Choosing the right words is part of it, and while you don't have to worry much about page count in a novel, every second counts in an anime script. Watching them pare down the text to fit the animation, I found myself worrying, can they really cut any more?
The voice actors, starting with Aoi, deliver outstanding performances. What are your impressions of the dubbing?
First, the acting is superb every single time. I also feel the voice casting is exceptionally well done. I think fans are most concerned about whether the characters and voices match properly when an anime adaptation is made. Listening from the original author's perspective, I feel no sense of incongruity, so I believe this is the right casting. The vocal balance is also very well thought out. I don't think Apothecary Diaries has many overly high-pitched, bubbly voices, but even when someone has a higher voice, it doesn't feel out of place at all when you listen to the overall balance. I hear the anime is also being watched by older viewers who enjoy dramas, and I think part of that is probably because the characters' voices are calm and easy to listen to.
Could you share your thoughts on media mixes?
First, regarding the book adaptation, initially, Ray Books published just Volume 1 as a tankobon, and later, Hiro Bunko re-released it. Among the feedback from readers of Volume 1, someone mentioned, "My elderly mother wants to read the continuation." Hearing that, I figured I had no choice but to release more. When I got the book offer about a month after starting the serialization on the bulletin board, I was actually planning to wrap up the work quickly and stop posting. So after writing for about a month and a half, I marked it as serialization ended on Let's Become Novelists for several years. But hearing that people wanted to read more, and then deciding to release it anew through Hiro Bunko, made me decide to write the continuation. But continuing from what I'd originally intended as the finale didn't feel right. I felt it needed polishing, so I started rewriting it for Hiro Bunko. At the same time, I also began revising the version on Let's Become Novelists. I thought I'd stop after Volume 4, which coincided with the anime's second season finale. But since the comic adaptation was starting, I ended up continuing. It felt less like my own decision and more like I was being moved by the circumstances around me and the people who wanted it. I thought long and hard about what to write after Volume 5, but I'm glad the Saito arc in the 12th novel volume provided a nice, clean conclusion.
Having two different manga adaptations is also quite distinctive.
I was genuinely excited after hearing about it from the editor. The age groups reading each seem slightly different. Square Enix's version is teens to 20s, while Shogakukan is 30s to 40s. For the Square Enix version, Ikki Nanao gave the scenes I wanted emphasized large panels, creating real highlights. Artist Neko Kuraje then brought those scenes to life with eye-catching artwork. In contrast, Minomoshi Kurata-san for the Shogakukan edition is a veteran with superb composition. Even without reading the novel, they capture the essence of Apothecary Diaries while skillfully supplementing it with original elements. Both are enjoyable and highly recommended. While there are many goods and events, Apothecary Diaries fans range from young children to housewives, so I hope everyone can enjoy things at their own pace within their budget. I visit Universal Studios Japan every summer, and for the collaboration starting this July, 2025, please everyone just be careful not to get heat stroke.